Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 14 of the Clappercast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Burke.
And today we get to talk about some exciting playoff hockey. So this first, four days here has been unreal.
Yeah.
Just so exciting. Just such a pace change, and just the storylines that are coming out of these first round series are incredible.
It truly is the best time of year.
Yeah, it's the
most
most wonderful time of the year.
Exciting hockey, it's do or die hockey, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not quite yet do or die, but
well, I mean, it really is for some, especially because Pittsburgh is now down 3-0 as of when we started recording this. So
yeah,
and
not
not in the game
timeline.
That's 3-0 in a series.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Screw you, Christmas.
Yeah, I mean I've been Snapchatting and stuff with my friends, just saying the best time of year. You know, got multiple monitors with different games on, and
Oh yeah.
watch two or three games at a time. And
I had 3 games going the first night.
yeah,
I think there were 5 games that first night. I watched all of them.
you have to enjoy the first round while it lasts, because after that, there's not quite as many games on at the same time.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Make
And
it last.
very quickly, you got to enjoy it while you last, because it very quickly ends. And then all of a
That's
sudden,
true.
there's no hockey for, 3 months?
Yeah.
So, got to make sure you enjoy it.
Did you want to start with the draft lottery before we get into some of these series?
Yeah, let's talk about the playoffs at the end, because that's more fun.
Okay. So, right before our last episode, we were talking, or in our last episode, we were talking about the draft lottery odds, and then it happened 2 days after our podcast. So, the results kind of surprising.
Is it really, though?
I mean, the number one is maybe not as surprising because of Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
But
2 and 3, maybe.
yeah. So, New Jersey got number one. So, Taylor Hall has an insane record of being on the team that selects first overall.
Yeah, so I think it's been 6 of 9 seasons he's been in the league, or 6 of 10, I think.
That's not really a stat you want.
No, but he's embracing it.
Yeah, he is.
He really is. He's embracing it.
He's running with it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And yeah. Halsey, just generational talent at being on the team that selects first overall.
Think of when he's in a nursing home when he's older, how unreal he's going to be at bingo.
Yeah, he's going to get that first.
He's going to be like every
bingo all the time.
every 5 balls he's going to be yelling out bingo.
Yeah. So, New Jersey got first. They were slotted at 3. Number 3, they had the third best odds. And then New York Rangers got second, and they were up from number 5.
Yep.
And then Chicago got third, and they were up from 12th.
Yeah, so because Chicago really needs a high pick, but I mean, that's the whole point of the lottery, so good for them.
Yeah, that one's surprising because they were bad at the beginning, but then they kind of moved up in the standings.
They did. They were battling for a playoff spot until the last couple of weeks. They kind of turned it around under Colleton.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if you're a Colorado fan, you don't get to embrace the meme quite as much.
Yeah, so we're no longer going to be comparing Brady Tkachuk and Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. It'll be a little bit more of an even comparison.
LA and Detroit got boned.
Yeah, they dropped down, 3 or 4?
Yeah, LA was tied for second with New Jersey, I guess, with the odds. So
Okay.
they're going to be down.
Yeah, I think
guess
they're
they'll
going to
be
be
fourth.
5th now.
Won't they be fourth?
Colorado's 4th.
Oh, Colorado's fourth, yeah.
Yeah. Which I also want to add on that. So we've been bashing on Ottawa all season for keeping the 4th overall pick last year, because they thought this pick was going to be like later on in the first round. So now it's the exact same pick. Now we don't have that bargaining chip to bash them for it. So
it still doesn't mean it was a good move, because it came down to chance.
Basically,
really.
yeah. They lucked out on that one.
It should have been number 1, and statistically speaking, most times it would have been number 1.
Yeah.
But
approximately
just so
1 of every
happened
5
out that
times.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess now that that's out of the way, we can jump into some of these playoff series.
You want to mention Coach Q in Florida and possibly McClellan down in LA?
You kind of just did.
Didn't I? Okay,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Coach Q going down to Florida. I think my favorite part about this is the altered logo where they gave the Panther a mustache. That was
Yeah.
I like that picture, and it's
Is it
quite
grabbing
silly.
its crotch, though?
No, I don't. They'd have to alter the whole logo because we only get the head of the Panther.
Get the old one back.
Yes.
Instead of the arms being outstretched, one can be down on its junk. And then they'll truly be Coach Q's team.
Yep.
Yeah, they got a chance of being good next year.
And I think they're supposed to make a hard push for Panarin and Bobrovsky this summer.
We'll see what happens with them this offseason, but depending on how Columbus does, I could see them staying now because they got a good team. So
They do.
We'll get into that later. But
yeah, and rumor. This isn't confirmed yet. It's just it's still a rumor, but Todd McClellan is the leading candidate for Los Angeles' coaching job.
Oh yeah.
So, he's not a bad coach, so I think he could probably go do some good with LA, especially because they have a more established veteran core still.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where he'd excel, is rather than a young team.
I also heard a rumor that Vigneault was being talked to by Philly. It was unconfirmed.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
And Vigneault and Hackstall are coaching like Team Canada.
Okay.
At the whatever it is, Worlds or whatever. So, I mean, Vigneault's a pretty good coach. I think he'll get a shot.
I think he's been regarded as a better defensive veteran coach.
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm remembering correctly.
He's made it to the finals. He's made it to the conference finals.
Yeah.
And, so I think he'll get a shot somewhere.
Probably. It's kind of surprising he hasn't, but I guess there wasn't much for coaching changes over the last year until, this season.
Yeah, it was literally only him.
Yeah, he was the only one, so I guess there wasn't an open job for him.
But now it's going to be his time to shine, I think. So, yeah, like I said, he'll get a shot somewhere. Who knows where, but somewhere.
Somewhere, for sure.
Lots of openings. So now,
drum roll, please.
The Stanley Cup Playoffs. Jump in.
Good stuff.
So let's start with everyone's favorite right now, Tampa Bay and Columbus.
Ooh, yeah.
It's gone the way everyone has expected.
I think so. I mean, everybody's brackets are still perfectly intact.
Yeah. I know mine is.
Yeah.
my hopes and dreams bracket that I never wrote down is still intact, but my actual bracket that I said on here is gonna get fucked if this keeps going this way.
Oh yeah, mine was it's always discouraging when your bracket gets completely messed up in the first game of the playoffs.
But I did say I was pulling for Columbus. That counts for something.
Shout out to the, I think it's 0.4% of people who had Columbus winning a cup. We're not there yet.
Yeah,
but,
we're not quite there yet, but yeah. Yeah.
I guess something a lot of us overlooked, or me especially, is that Columbus is built more for the playoffs than Tampa.
100%. We kind of touched on that in our little preview of the playoffs and how Columbus has that gritty mentality.
Yeah.
And they've got Tortorella, defensive coach. And yeah, like we said, Tampa wasn't really cruising into playoffs, but they haven't really played a meaningful game in a while. And Columbus started playing since before the trade deadline, meaningful games. So
Tampa was still winning, of course. They were still going. I don't want to say they were trying to get the record, but they were still winning games that got them to it.
Yeah. So at this point, Columbus is up 2-0.
Yeah, and they play game 3
and
later
they took
today.
Both in Tampa.
Which is huge. I mean, that
huge.
First game, that 3-0 comeback.
Yeah, down 3-0 in the first period. First goal was a shorthanded goal for Killorn. And then you come back, score 4 unanswered. And Bobrovsky was fucking insane after
Something
the first
happened
period.
in that first intermission.
Yeah.
I don't know what they fed him or what they gave him, but his game just did a complete 180 in that first intermission.
Yeah, he was a different guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been insane. He's been lights out since.
Yeah, because he made some unreal saves in game 2 as well.
Yeah, he's been huge.
They just Tampa couldn't solve him, which is weird to be saying after their offensive season.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Nick Foligno, my pick in this series. He got that
first one.
That breakaway goal and got them going.
He opened the floodgates.
And apparently, according to Pierre McGuire, so take that as however you want, but apparently Foligno was pretty vocal on the bench after that going down to 3-0, keeping the guys up and getting them going. And one thing that I want to talk about too, we might as well bring it up right now, is the whole Kucherov on what's his name? Nudavara. Yeah, thank you. That hit. So before we get into that hit itself, I wanted to talk about the reaction and the response that Columbus had to that hit of Kucherov.
They jumped him, right? Well, not jumped him.
Foligno did.
But
Foligno jumped on him, took him to the ice, and he was yelling or whispering sweet nothings into his ear on top of him. And that just stood out to me as
That's
a
the
team.
type of team, right?
Yeah, right. Like a bonded team. They stick up for each other.
And also a leader.
Yeah.
To like after, because I didn't realize he was one of the vocal guys on the bench. But if he's vocally getting on his team to turn it around, if he's sticking up for his teammates, like that's a leader that the players can get behind.
Yeah, that's important to have in playoffs, right? Like it's not individuals, it's a team, so you stand up for each other no matter who it is and what's going on. Someone hurts your teammate, takes a cheap shot at them, no matter who it is, you stand up for them and go after them. So, that being said, what did you think of that Kucherov play?
Dirty. I mean, I'm looking back because I don't watch Kucherov a lot, but I'm looking back to when Washington played Tampa last season. And by the end of that series, Kucherov, you could tell, was getting visibly pissy.
He's got the same mentality that Malkin has.
Yeah.
Or if he's not doing anything on the score sheet, he gets pissed off and pissy and takes shots at people. And
yeah, so I don't know what he was thinking because like watching the replay, he looks predatory. That he trips Nudavara, and I don't know why, but he looks at him and then skates directly at his head into the boards and shoves it right in.
That's to me why it's worth more than one game.
Absolutely,
because
it's not like the accidental contact that we saw like McDavid and Eichel and Voracek.
It's definitely intentional.
Yeah.
He had time to let up.
He didn't need to go in to hit in the first place.
And he caused the incident, like the whole thing, because he tripped him.
Yeah. Purposefully,
and then lined him up.
Yeah.
And for him to just get one game is an absolute joke
now,
because he's the league MVP.
Exactly. And we do know like one playoff game equals 3 regular seasons. So you got to like use that comparison, but that's still deliberately dirty, predatory to a vulnerable player who can't defend himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely worthy of more than one game. Most people I've been seeing, most pundits, and I know Eddie Olczyk and JR all said that it was worth more than one game. And I agree. It's definitely...
I agree, too. It's 2 or 3.
Predatory hit that has no place in the game.
Especially in the nature of Kadri last year, which we'll talk about him later on, too. But that Kadri hit on Wingles last playoffs. That similar idea where the guy's kind of on his knees along the boards. He goes in and hits the guy's head.
Yeah, you're hitting a vulnerable player, and they have no way to defend themselves. Now, that being said, this Kucherov one wasn't as bad as that Kadri one because Kadri definitely exploded into that hit, and he was going a lot faster.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's a guy's head against the boards, and he's down on his knees.
Yeah.
So,
and this wasn't like, oops, I tripped right before the hit. This was, oh, he's on his knees. I'm going to go in anyways.
Yeah.
So Kucherov's got to smarten up. Tampa Bay has got to bounce back because they're going into Columbus down 2 games now.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to point out, too, is that in the 2 games that have happened so far, Kucherov has 0 points. Stamkos has 0 points. So they've both been invisible. Hedman's been fucking worked. And you told me earlier today that he's probably going to be a game-time decision tonight.
And he's actually been hurt for a while, apparently.
And he looks terrible out there.
He does. He's slow. He can't turn around.
He's gotten dangled so many times.
Oh, yeah. That goal that Savard scored on him in Game 1.
Yeah, he got worked.
Just got walked around. Like, he looks like a crappy AI defender in NHL 19.
Yeah, he looks like how good Branson looked on the Canucks.
Take that, good Branson.
Just lost out there doing spins around with his stick and not taking the body or anything.
And
bad.
When we previewed this series, I was talking about how Columbus's depth is going to have to step up to be able to match Tampa. Turns out we got the exact opposite thing going on here because Tampa's top players aren't performing. Tampa's depth is doing whatever little they have. Yeah. And Columbus's top players are completely dominating. Like Panarin, Duchesne, Atkinson, Werenski, like they're all playing insanely good.
Yeah.
And Columbus's depth, like, yeah, they're doing well. They're doing good as well, but they haven't had to step up and contribute as much because Tampa's the one that we're worried about now.
Yeah, Duchesne had a 4-point night, and that set a Columbus record for most points in a playoff game.
Yeah.
And he is looking like an insane pickup at this point. I know people were doubting right after the trade deadline that he had a slow start, but now that he's playing with Panarin and I think Atkinson, that line is deadly. Mm-hmm. They look like it. Like they're really good along the boards. That's one thing I noticed. Duchesne's really good along the boards and below the goal line.
And combine that with Panarin, who's just like I remember him with his puck control and stick handling.
Yeah.
That he just holds onto the puck. He can't get it off of him.
And Duchesne's had some nasty no-look passes and stuff too,
and that's the type of stuff that chemistry brings.
Yeah,
so.
They've got chemistry. It took a while to build, I think, and Torts is definitely known for jumbling lines up and stuff, and it looks like he's kind of found a match for those two players, and no knock on Atkinson either. He's an amazing player.
40-goal scorer. He's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, and they're playing the body game too, and this is something I noticed last year against the Capitals is that Tampa can be soft.
Yeah,
even though they've got a lot of good players and a lot of heavy players, they play soft.
It's like they're built like an all-star team. They're highly skilled and highly potent offensively, but they don't have that grit, that physical factor that, as much as it's kind of diminished in its role in the regular season, that is playoff hockey. And we talked about this just over text after game 1 that like Tampa's grit and their physical players are like 5'8".
Yeah, so they're not gonna be able to keep that up.
They can't match like just Dubinsky and Foligno and
even like Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Joseph's not going to win that battle over a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Or maybe a 4-game series.
And you look at like Stamkos and Kucherov, like they're not they're not physical players.
Yeah, they can be.
Like Stamkos can grind it out pretty well, but he's not a physical guy.
There's a difference between like they can be physical and like someone like Nick Foligno or Dubois. You're like, that guy, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like that's what he loves to do.
Or in terms of star players like Ovechkin.
Yeah.
And even Crosby.
Yeah. Like they'll work the body. Like
cue music.
Yeah. So
give them the business.
Yeah, I think like you said, they're built like an all-star team. They have all the talent, but it just looks like they're not firing on all cylinders right now. Because they can, I mean...
Well, they got rattled.
Yeah, honestly. I think that they just... I don't want to jump into their heads too much, but you could kind of see it in that game 1. It started off right, and then they did not expect the comeback. And they just haven't responded to that. I think Vasilevsky's save percentage is like .830 or something. And Bobrovsky's gone... after that first period, is just skyrocketed.
Wait. So I think what might have happened is behind the scenes they did some tricky like human manipulation stuff and swapped Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky's like brains or something.
Could have been, yeah. Yeah. They're Russian.
Yeah.
No one's going to notice. Maybe they did some voodoo.
Someone's got to go look into that because this might be some sketchy sketchy rigging of the playoffs here.
Yeah, and I just think that they didn't expect Columbus to be that much of a trouble.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the first times this team's faced that type of adversity. Because they've always, even going back the last year or two, I mean, they're making the conference final, so like ultimately you don't always win that. You can't always win it. They've never faced this type of difficulty. And like this regular season especially, I mean, what they lose like 12 games or something?
Yeah, I think they...
62, 12, and 8?
Something like that.
Does that math add up? Like,
so they've definitely had a season where they bounced back after a win, and you did not see that in that game. And they've got booed off the ice 2 games in a row, which is terrible. And the fans are fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but the amount of Tampa fans that are, like, jumping ship right now and be like, oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of that fair weather atmosphere.
Reminds me of Capitals fans a lot. It's because as soon as a team hits the trouble, they're like, fuck this team, Yeah.
And
well, those are your boys.
With dealing with this adversity, you look at their top players, and like you said, like Stamkos, Kucherov, they have no points. And you see how Kucherov is handling it.
Yeah.
That is not a good impression on the rest of your teammates, being possible league MVP and you're getting pissy because you lost 2 games.
Taking yourself out of the series.
Basically, yeah.
That you haven't really been doing anything in anyway.
But that's not a good.
I don't want to shit on Tampa too much because the Caps went up 2-0 on them last year, and then they came back and was 3-2 Tampa, and then Capitals eventually won in the last 2.
Yeah.
But
and also
they have a team that can bounce back. They've shown that, and I think that this adversity could make or break them.
Yep.
If they respond today, I think they have a good chance of coming back and winning this series. But if they don't, I think Columbus is going to. If Columbus wins today, I think they win Game 4.
Yeah, and we'll also add to their Columbus did go up 2-0 against Washington last year too.
That's true as well.
So that was probably unexpected going into that series. So Tampa goes down 2-0. I mean, this is even more unexpected because of how good Tampa was. But it's not like the end of the world. The series isn't done yet.
No, it's definitely
Columbus,
not 2 games.
Like Tampa's only got to win 4 of the next 6, which based off the regular season is well within
doable.
Well within their path.
Yeah. Yeah, that one last thing I wanted to mention about this series is that Riley Nash.
No, R Nash.
Yeah. Riley Nash ties Rick Nash for goals in Columbus Blue Jackets playoffs, which is ridiculous, with 1.
Yeah, so
best R Nash in Columbus Blue Jackets history.
Best R Nash. R.I. Nash, actually.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane stat to me, that Rick Nash was there for so long and he got 1 playoff goal. I guess that's what you can expect from a team that hasn't won a playoff series, but it would be insane if they did it this time and they bounced the best team since 96. I'm hoping for it.
Remember, like, few episodes ago, we started talking about playoff brackets and how I said I end up, like, things that always end up working out the opposite of what I predict, and then I jokingly said, so the Montreal is going to sweep Tampa.
Yeah.
It's not Montreal, but...
Yeah, you had wizard forecasting abilities a few months ago.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how this goes over the next week.
Yeah, and the next one, definitely have a lot less to say about this. All the other series, except for that one, I had the most to say about that one. It's Pittsburgh New York Islanders. Again, I'm super pleased with how this is turning out.
Of course. I'm surprised.
Islanders are up 3-0. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out if I overestimated the Penguins or underestimated New York.
As I keep telling you in our texts, probably a little column A and a little column B.
Yeah. And I mean, watching Pittsburgh, like, we just watched the end of Game 3, and just the defensive decisions that the Penguins players are making. I mean, Justin Schultz pinched from the blue line to center ice for some reason I don't really know, and gave up a 2-on-1 that led to the second goal. And you watch, I think it was Letang defending Filppula near the end of the game.
Oh yeah,
Filppula, he did
like the lamest toe drag.
Yeah, it was just the worst.
He just
stick handle and
bought it.
Yeah, just got right around Letang, right into the open slot. And on the third goal, like another one, Murray's not playing very well, which is hard when the defense in front of you isn't either. But he's got to have some of these.
Yeah.
And that third goal was just like a flip over top that he couldn't get across.
That was weak. Uncle Leo got the weakest goal on Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Just flipped it short side along the post, and Murray just got beat on the slow pass across the ice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to take 3 seconds here and brag about my pick that I said Jordan Eberle's going to have to step up for the Islanders. He has. He's now got 3 goals and 2 assists in 3 games.
Yeah, he's been doing really well.
Yeah, and even beyond his point production, he's taken on like a pseudo coaching role on the bench and on the ice. That he's directing play, he's controlling what's going on, he's leading Barzal and Beauvillier around, and on the bench he picks up the whiteboard from the coach, erases it, and draws his own play. Which, like, that's the type of Jordan Eberle clutch playoff performer that we need.
Does he wear a letter?
He does. He has an A.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely taken on a leadership role that a lot of people probably wouldn't have pegged him for.
After his time in Edmonton, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But he's matured a lot, apparently, from the looks of it. He's had a rough season, but he's doing well, and I couldn't be happier to see him succeeding in a few games here.
And just as you have ties to Eberle, I have ties to Barry Trotz through the Capitals, and I am happy with him.
Like, I think he's really showing his prowess as a coach.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if he had that much of an impact on Eberle as a player, but
I think so.
From what I've seen with Barry Trotz in the Capitals, like, people run through walls for him, and I think he definitely inspires better performances from players. And I'm happy that they're doing well. I
think he is, because Barry Trotz is a pretty good defensive coach too, right? He's good at kind of teaching players how to be more responsible.
Yeah.
So one of the highlight packages through that game showed Eberle late in the game making a really solid and smart defensive play, something that he never would have done in the past. because he was never really the type of guy to back check and engage in defensive zone physicality and all that. He came back, he stick lifted a Penguin and got the puck out of the zone. And looking back to that series, Edmonton played against Anaheim when he had 2 chances to get the puck out of the zone, wouldn't engage physically to do that, and that cost him a goal. So I think he's really mature, and I would imagine a lot of that is Barry Trotz.
Probably. And the experience, like his last playoffs didn't go so hot, so now he knows, like, I can't play that way too, probably.
Yep.
Which is something that would have come a lot earlier if he had made playoffs, I think, earlier in his career. But it's nice to see him develop into what everybody kind of thought he would be as a player. And again, your pick is working out really well. I think he's really been a difference maker out there. I think
so. Because he went and scored early in game 1.
Yeah. I mean, Kunak beat him to the punch, but got taken away. Yeah. But yeah, he got that first goal, I think, and he's made some crazy passes, and he's definitely been a leader out there.
I think so.
And my pick, Kessel, he had a big goal in game 1, but as far as I can remember, I don't think he's got any other points.
Which Pittsburgh hasn't exactly been offensive in the series, so I can't really blame him too much on that. But
I think Malkin has like 3 points. Crosby has 0.
Yeah, which I think you wanted to mention Malkin.
I do want to mention Malkin. Malkin is looking like he is very rattled and out of his head, or in his head, I guess.
Yeah, he's stuck inside his head there.
He is running around as he is prone to do and doing dumb things, taking dumb penalties. A lot of the Penguins are actually taking dumb penalties. Jack Johnson is one guy.
Yeah, that play when he came out of the penalty box, tripped a guy, and then hit another guy from behind and got a penalty 4 seconds after he got out of the box.
Had the audacity
smart
to look like,
why me?
What did I do?
Yeah.
You literally did 2 penalties within 2 seconds of coming out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I expected with the Penguins D when they picked up Johnson and Goodbranson, but Goodbranson's been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
He's been well, but I think in Vancouver he did all the basic stuff well, but he wouldn't do like any crazy passes out of the zone.
Yeah, and
he
also
puts it off the glass or something.
Yeah, and also in Vancouver he is probably supposed to be higher in the defensive depth chart than he was actually suited for.
And I think one other thing that Canucks fans were a little bit disappointed with him is that he would never stand up for anybody.
Right.
Which is something he did in like his first game for the Penguins. So it's kind of changed, and I think maybe that's probably with Sergei Gonchar being their D coach, or they're somehow involved with their D, is that he's an absolute legend, so he'd probably turn around people like Schultz and Goodbranson.
Yeah, he probably has a good effect, especially offensively.
Yeah.
And with puck management.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, like that's been a trend with Malkin's game for years, where he has a tendency to kind of have temper or anger, emotional issues on the ice.
And that being said, if he ever flips that switch and becomes angry, scary, God mode Malkin, the Islanders are fucked.
Oh, for sure.
He is an absolute game changer if he's like that. I've seen that, like, firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
And he can just change a series by being
he's got the
God
size,
mode.
He's got the offensive ability, like he can just go willingly score a goal.
Yeah.
And create plays and just turn the tide of the game, but he's in that I'll say it again, he's in that pissy mode.
Yeah. Do you think if the Islanders win game 4, if there's going to be as much criticism of Sidney Crosby as there has been of Alex Ovechkin when he gets bumped out? Because Crosby has 0 points.
I doubt it. I honestly
I don't think so either.
Because I mean,
there should be.
Yeah, like it's hard. I'm probably going to be one of them, but like I mean, Crosby's already won all the cups.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
That's the main difference, is that like Ovechkin was getting this before he won, but now that he's won it, if say Washington got bumped in the first round, like would we still be questioning Ovechkin? Because I wouldn't. He won one.
But Ovechkin has points.
Yeah. I don't think Crosby's going to get much because it's not even that much on him. Like everybody else isn't playing great either.
Yeah, I just think like the way he dragged that team into a playoff spot, you'd expect him to do a lot more. But
yeah, you'd also kind of hope that the other guys would see that and pick it up a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think The Islanders have this. I think I picked them, right?
Well, it's 3-0.
Picked them in 5. I think that was my
5 or 6.
5 or 6 probably. Yeah. I just think they came in too hot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I severely underrated the factor of them having that Cizikas, Clutterbuck, Martin, Komarov. Like,
that line's been absolutely massive.
As we
for them.
spent so much of that last playoff preview talking about the importance of that gritty hit and the hot goalie, I go and completely disregard the hot goalie and gritty team.
Yeah, they've been a very important line. I think we thought it was 2 lines, but it's Clutterbuck, Martin, and Cizikas is a line, and then Komarov plays with Kuhnhackl, I guess.
Okay.
Also, Kuhnhackl has been fucking on fire.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
He's got like crazy soft hands all of a sudden.
He has 2 disallowed goals in the first game.
Yeah, like the OT winner called back, and then the opener called back.
So I don't know where that came from. He just kind of shot out of a cannon from nowhere.
Yeah, I guess he's running through walls for Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I just found this out in the game today, but Scott Gomez is one of their coaches for the Islanders.
Why not?
It's crazy.
Haven't heard his name in a while. I wonder if he scored.
Oh, one more thing about the Tampa Columbus series is don't forget Martin St. Louis. Martin St. Louis,
actually.
Yeah, Martin St. Louis is their power play coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's on the bench during the game, but he's on the ice for practices.
Mm-hmm.
Is he on the bench?
I doubt it. I don't think he's an assistant.
He's a consultant, I think. Yeah. He's not like a coach.
Because I think you have to be an assistant coach or an associate coach.
But it's so cool because they have like that insider like relationship with Tampa, and his name's in the rafters there. It's just pretty funny.
It's weird to go back into your own building like that.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Toronto-Boston series.
This one is heated.
This one's 1-1, and it's
heated.
Looking crazy.
I'm actually pretty pissed off with the way the officials are handling this series. And like I get the whole playoff hockey where I have to put the whistles away, but they've lost control.
Especially that last game.
Yeah. So by the end of that last game, it's just play after play where there's dirty scrums, dirty hits, questionable plays, and penalties that should have been called but weren't. And the refs have completely lost control of that. And they are just shitting the bed.
Well, prepare for a crackdown next game.
Yeah.
It's going to get ridiculous, I bet.
I think so.
Probably come out. I would expect them to call something soft within the first minute.
And just to reestablish, like, settle down, you guys.
Yeah. I would, you don't drink beer, but I would wager a pop. I'll bet you that they'd call a penalty within the first minute.
Yeah. Of any kind, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to agree. They gotta do something, because especially the way that last game ended, that these two teams are going to come out seething, and someone is going to do something stupid.
Or has already done something stupid, like Nazem Kadri. He doesn't get to the Cloud District very often.
No. Well, he's living too much in the clouds.
Yeah. So, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just explain the setup. So, Patrick Marleau skating down the ice. He was by the blue line where the boards curve, and Jake DeBrusk hit him into that curvature of the boards, and Marleau went down. DeBrusk kept skating a little bit, and then Kadri just came over and cross-checked him right in the head. Meanwhile, Marleau had just popped right back up. He was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And DeBrusk goes down and looked really bad.
Yeah, he did. I thought he was honestly KO'd when he was down, especially as Kadri just like stood over top of him and then fell on him.
Yeah, and this wasn't a cross-check where it slides off the shoulder up into the head.
It was just straight up to
right at the head.
Yeah. And this isn't even a new thing for him. He's done that exact play before, just not on the boards.
This is not an isolated incident. I mean, he was suspended the last 2 playoffs. Last year he had that hit
on Wingles that we talked about earlier.
Wingles looked like the Kucherov one, but worse. And then the year before, he went knee on knee with Ovechkin.
Did he get suspended for that? I'm trying to remember. I don't think there was any discipline for it.
I think he might have got a game, but I can't remember.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, he's been suspended like 4 or 5 times, fined for diving another few times. Like, I didn't realize he'd been suspended as much as he had in the regular season.
Like 4 or 5 multi-game suspensions or something.
So the NHLPA or player safety offered him an in-person hearing, which means that they can go over 5 games. And
I honestly think they will.
Yeah, I honestly 5 to 10 minimum.
That is a completely ridiculous play.
Yeah,
it's clearly intentional.
Yeah, he should be done for the rest of the playoffs.
He should
and into the next season.
I think he should too. I think he should get playoffs. He should get suspended for the remainder of the Toronto Maple Leafs playoffs.
Yeah.
Like open-ended, just however long they're in playoffs, he's gone, and then into next season. But that being said, he probably won't. I think he'll get playoffs though.
Yeah. So, look, someone on Reddit compiled all the in-person hearings and the suspension length. There was only one that was less than 5 games, and it was 4. So, I'm trying to figure out if they were in the playoffs and they did the whole okay, so this would be
this many
9
games in
regular season, so it's 3 playoff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if they've done that in the past, but at this point, I mean, he's been suspended so much. This is just dirty.
Yeah.
It's completely unnecessary, and I think he just needs to be kicked out for a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that Jake DeBrusk went knee on knee with him earlier.
Yeah, and what do you think about that hit, by the way?
I don't have a problem with it.
No.
I think it's unfortunate. Kadri was clearly fine. He came back, right? So
yeah, he went to the dressing room and he was in pain on the ice, but even beyond the injury, looking at how much backlash he's getting from the Leafs fan base, DeBrusk, I mean, is this actually a kneeing? Is this something that should have been penalized? Because DeBrusk didn't get anything for it on the play.
I think maybe you give him a minor. Maybe they missed a minor penalty, but it's not suspension worthy.
No. And
yeah, I have a hard time agreeing with Leafs fans when they were so defensive of Kadri when he went knee on knee with Ovechkin, which in my opinion was way worse.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this one, the DeBrusk one, and I don't see anything intentional. I see Kadri flying in at top speed into a guy who's moving at half speed, who Kadri tries to jump out of the way, sending his leg into DeBrusk's. Yeah. And if you look at the side view, DeBrusk's leg is bent forwards, he's sticking his knee towards Kadri, but he's got to brace himself for contact. He didn't move his knee into Kadri or into Kadri's knee or anything.
Yeah, I'd really, like I said, a minor at most.
Yeah.
And even then it's pushing it. But Jake DeBrusk is certainly setting himself up to be one of the most hated Bruins by the Leafs.
I think so.
Because he had that trip in Game 1 against Marner on the penalty shot, before the penalty shot. Mm-hmm. He pushed his leg out. It was really dangerous.
I think it's dangerous, but I think he just missed a poke check.
I think so too. People were like, that's a clearly reckless poke check. It's dangerous, but I think he just missed. But still, you probably just let him go. Then your coach probably tears you a new asshole. But then you cost the team a goal anyway. So
it's kind of lose-lose.
Yeah. But, I mean, the hit on Marleau was fine. It's not like Pacioretty or anything. Not the same since they changed the boards at all. And he popped right back up. And the knee, I don't think was intentional. But he's probably going to get booed in Toronto for, getting cross-checked in the head.
Yeah, which means he's done something right. And, I mean, DeBrusk is really making a name for himself around the league, too. Because I think he kind of stood out last playoffs, too.
Yeah.
On Boston's roster as just this speedy, physical, gritty winger who was scoring, who was contributing in all facets of the game, and he's doing it again. And I think this is looking really good for him.
Yeah. It's definitely...
He's taking an absolute beating.
Yeah.
But he's looking good.
Yeah, I really don't know which way this series is going to go. I mean, for the memes, I hope it's Boston, but I wouldn't mind seeing Toronto.
Anderson's in the right mindset that he might be able to steal it for him.
Yeah. Who were our picks for this one? It was Matthews,
Boston,
right?
Yeah, Matthews.
I think we both had Boston. And
Boston.
You had Boston.
I had Boston 7.
I think I said 6.
Okay. But, I mean, Matthews, I haven't heard his name. I think he had one rush to the net in Game 2.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen or heard his name really at all.
No, definitely not. I don't think we picked anybody on Boston, right?
No, we both had Matthews.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting series so far, and Kadri's hearings tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow, which we're recording on Sunday the 14th, right after the Islanders and Penguins played Game 3, so his hearing is going to be Monday the 15th, which is this. I'm assuming Toronto-Boston plays tomorrow as well.
Probably. Yeah.
So this hearing is going to be. I guess they wouldn't start playing until after the working day, anyways. But yeah, probably here tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. One thing else I wanted to mention about this was Don Cherry in Coach's Corner yesterday.
That was an all-time segment.
I wanted to bring up his point about the Leafs whining about penalties.
Doing the whole palms up thing.
Palms up, look right at the ref after you go down, that sort of thing. I think he's got a definite point that he was like, stop whining. Like he was like doing baby voice, like, give me a penalty. I think it does you no favors to do that. And Grapes pointed out, look at someone like Ryan O'Reilly. He's a very clean player. He's got, 2 minors or something this season. He wins the Lady Byng.
Yeah. He doesn't take penalties.
Or he doesn't win it, but he should be, right?
Yeah.
Has he won it?
I can't remember. I know he's been up for it.
Yeah, anyway, I think he's a Lady Byng type player.
Exactly.
And he gets the benefit of the doubt. I mean, in that last game against the Jets, we'll touch about it, the Jets series later, but, he got cross-checked from behind. It's O'Reilly. He's probably not diving. He doesn't look at the ref, doesn't try and embarrass the referee.
He just goes on his way.
Just keeps playing. And that is how you get calls,
Eventually, because McDavid's pretty much like that, still doesn't get calls.
Yeah. I mean, it depends.
He's noticeably getting a little bit more looking in the ref's direction, but he's not doing the whole palms up, what's going on here.
O'Reilly's definitely not the level of McDavid, talent-wise.
Yeah.
And, those generational type players don't get the call
that they should.
All of them. They never do.
This went back, this is why Crosby had such a bad reputation when he was a younger player as well. Because he did that. He always looked at the ref. He was looking for calls. Yeah. Because he never got any.
Well, plus you get fouled constantly. 50 times a game.
And you get maybe a penalty.
You can get a power play every time you go out there for a shift, and they call everything.
Yeah, so his actions are justified, but it doesn't look good.
No.
And you see it now, McDavid and Gaudreau both get the shit beat out of them constantly, and they barely get any calls.
Yeah. One thing, though, that I know Toronto fans are upset about is that they had the lowest power play total out of anybody in the league, and they think it's some sort of conspiracy against them. They can't draw penalties. I think it's bullshit. I think you get however many power plays you get. There's no conspiracy against you.
I think part of it is exactly what you just said about Don Cherry. They're looking for the calls, and the refs are kind of no.
If you embarrass the referees, they're not going to do any favors for you.
There's also this factor that someone has to have the least.
Yeah, that too. I mean, Boston had I think they were bottom 3 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah. Edmonton last year had a significantly lower amount than any other team in the league, and I think the last 5 or 10 games this season they got one power play a game.
Plus, Toronto's power play sucks ass. So
yeah, what are you worried about?
What are you worrying about? Yeah, but
Marner's better shorthanded anyways. Let him do that.
That's true. Yeah, so I mean, it sucks that they get less calls, but doing this isn't the way to get more.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was kind of cool to see Cherry do that. I know he's a big Bruins guy, but when he's not cheering for the Bruins, he's for the Leafs. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to add to that Toronto matchup?
No, I think it's mostly just Kadri's let emotions get the best of him, and at this point, he's a real liability on that team. Because yesterday they were down 3-1 with 6 minutes left. Then he goes and cross-checks DeBrusk in the side of the head and takes a major penalty. So 3-1 with 6 minutes left. Toronto had the momentum in the third. And that's not unreasonable to score 2 goals in the last 6 minutes.
Great job. But
instead, he takes a 5-minute penalty and they lose 4 or 5-1.
It's pretty funny, how there's this CBC commercial going on. Have you seen this? Where it's inside the mind of an athlete, and it's Nazem Kadri, and he's talking about how he's not gonna let anything get in the way, and he's I'm gonna push through my opponent, and blah blah blah. It's yeah, you're a real tough guy.
Yeah.
You're a real strong mental player when you go do something like that.
Yeah.
It's just so funny, the juxtaposition between like him saying like, I'm gonna do anything it takes, and then like in the game he's just like emotional and just going for blood.
His emotions get the best of him, and he ends up acting before thinking and doesn't channel the energy out in the right way.
Yeah.
Because he could go and lay a big hit that's clean.
Yeah.
Or he could go and muscle his way to the net for a high quality chance, but he doesn't. So I think he's got to find more effective ways to channel that to stop being a liability for the team that he's playing for.
Yeah.
Because honestly, he's probably running low on patience.
You have to get the boys going in a clean way. Like you can't do that and take yourself out of the game and give your team a huge penalty kill.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's move over to the Western Conference.
Did you not even want to mention Washington?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I jumped past them.
We haven't even talked about Washington yet. Yeah.
Okay.
They're looking good.
Yeah, so Caps are up 2-0 on the Canes.
Yeah, so this isn't like there hasn't been much of a storyline about this series. It's been pretty low key, as in terms of the other series that are going on. But Caps are looking good. Hurricanes are actually
they're staying in it.
They're energetic. They're fun to watch. Like these are good games.
Yeah. The main storyline that's going to be now is the Ferland hit.
Yeah. Which I was waiting for them to rescind that match penalty.
I think they will.
I think they have to. That wasn't dirty.
Yeah, I mean, it looked bad, but when you see the replay, he didn't hit him in the head. And I thought right away it was probably should have been a 2-minute charge.
And this reminds me a lot of that Eichel hit.
Yeah.
I think where Ferland went in for the hit, and the player he was hitting hit his head on the back of Eichel. And this time, I think it was Dowd hit his head on Ferland's back.
Yeah.
So like I've said before, I'm fine with the penalties and stuff because it was high contact, and also I'm just trying to be consistent at least. But looking at it again, I don't think it's dirty in the contact. I think it might stay a match penalty because of the charge.
Yeah,
because he kind of honed in there.
It looked bad because he came from so far away. He wasn't skating the whole time. He kind of glided into him.
Which I think might kind of negate some of the charge. So I think you got to keep your feet moving.
But he did come from way out of position just for the hit.
Yeah. I think what was dirtier was Hamilton's elbow on Kuznetsov.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. That one, I think, would have been worthy of a match because he did not even try to hit him anywhere else. He just went elbow to the head.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Well, actually, I'm not surprised, but I wish the league would have.
I wish they would have looked at it.
Because I didn't see anything about that yet. They didn't announce anything, so I imagine it's
that
it's
to me was way worse than Ferland's hit.
Yeah.
Ferland's hit, and I thought right away that it was just a big hit, a big boy hit, and Dowd was just low, but he got booted out, which was weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hamilton's elbow on Kuznetsov was bad.
He stuck his elbow out, and you might be able to justify it as he stuck the elbow to hit the body and missed, but he put his elbow right out into Kuznetsov's head.
Yeah, it was brutal.
So that's just dirty.
Yeah, and one more thing, kind of want to move on here. Is Brooks Orpik got the OT winner?
Against
Carolina in that last game, and I think he's got 4 playoff goals, and 3 of them are game winners.
So this guy's just clutch.
Yeah.
For real.
Real American hero.
Yeah.
Brooks Orpik, first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Yeah. So that was cool. Cool to see. And also on that play, Pesce in front of the net. What the fuck was that defense? He caged Mrazek in his own net. Kuznetsov was behind the net, and he's playing a little back and forth.
He's doing that thing that the offensive player does to the defenseman behind the net.
Yeah.
Trying to block both sides.
Yeah,
but instead
he's forechecking Kuznetsov.
Yeah, and then you look at exactly how that goal went in. If Mrazek was able to get out another 5 inches, that angle would have been off.
Scorpic scored that because Mrazek was so far in his net.
Yeah, and it went right over his shoulder, far corner. That's an angle you can't let in.
Ridiculous defense.
Yeah.
So now we can move on to the West.
Yes.
I don't really have a whole lot to say about a lot of these series. Maybe 1 or 2 points for some of them, but the first one is St. Louis and Winnipeg. St. Louis is up 2-0.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They won both games in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Now they go back to St. Louis. I think St. Louis has got a real shot of winning.
I still think Winnipeg's going to get a game or 2, but this is kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. I thought the series was going to go 7, and I thought it'd be closer, but Winnipeg went into the playoffs cold. St. Louis came in hot with a solid, responsible defensive team with a goalie who's just winning them games.
Yeah, that's how you win playoffs. That's a recipe for success.
And Hellebuck in game 2.
Bad.
2 of those goals were he has to have those. I think one of them he just stood there and it went through his arm.
He had a pretty funny quote where someone was like, "Would you have liked to get those goals back?" And he's like, "I would have liked to get every single goal I've let in my career back."
Which, it's a good quote, but
it doesn't
he's got to step up a little bit.
Yeah, it was
and
bad.
the Jets are playing weak. Like, we know what they can be. We know how physically dominant and how offensively dominant they can be, but they're not doing that right now.
They need to stop taking stupid fucking penalties. Mark Scheifele especially.
Yeah, and
he's been taking some bad penalties.
Yeah, in game 2, I think it was Darren Pang pointed this out, that Winnipeg was trying to goad St. Louis into retaliatory stuff, and they were just letting Winnipeg do whatever they want and not retaliating and not taking those penalties.
Craig Berube was my coach, I'd be scared of taking a penalty. He'd probably beat the shit out of you after the game.
You look at that guy, he looks like he's going to pound your head into the ground.
Yeah. Oh, also, quick note about the Carolina series, Rod Brind'Amour, scary motherfucker.
Oh, God. He's
still the bod.
He was vibrating when he was yelling at the ref.
He had every right to be,
which, of course, yeah.
But, the refs see it at real time. What can you do?
Yeah, and the reason that they called the match penalty is because they thought it was head hit.
Yeah, they thought it was intent to injure.
You watch that in real time from the angles they're looking. I can imagine that's why. So
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough when there's bodies in the way and you don't have the camera angle. But anyway, this St. Louis is playing super disciplined, like you said.
Yeah,
and
they're
Binnington is just fucking playing out of his mind. He's saved.
Winnington.
Yeah, he saved Scheifele at the end of the game.
Yeah, that save at the end of game 1.
That
one stands out in my mind as just this guy's ready to play.
Game saver. Yeah, difference maker for sure. He's been playing out of his mind, and Hellebuck is definitely losing that battle.
I think so. Yeah.
And Laine had a nice couple goals.
Yeah, Laine's been good.
He has been good
in terms of Laine. I mean, he's getting chances. He's
playing the body too. Like he's playing well.
We thought he's gonna have to step up for the Jets to play well, but it turns out that they need more than just Laine because the rest of the team's not doing well either.
Yeah. That's really all I have to say. I think St. Louis has got this.
I think so.
I think Winnipeg had to have won those 2 games at home.
At least one of them. You can with a rink like Winnipeg, you can't go and lose both of those.
You can't lose 2 at home.
No,
it's tough. I guess Tampa is in the same boat. I would put more. I'm more hopeful Tampa can come back than Winnipeg. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Calgary and Colorado series. It's tied 1-1.
This has just been fun hockey, I think.
It's been a crazy series.
This isn't
fast hockey.
Yeah, this isn't like your typical hard, heavy playoff series. It's not. It's still physical, but it's speed. It's fast.
Back and forth.
It's high intensity, high action. There's a lot of shots.
Some gigantic saves being made too.
Yeah.
Smith was insane in game 1.
Yeah.
And then the last night in the overtime goal.
Yeah, I was just gonna say most notably Grubauer in the play lead up to the overtime goal.
Yeah, that was a huge save, and then they just went right down the other way. McKinnon just fucking bar down.
I do like watching the replay, and you kind of see a flame behind McKinnon and then the defenseman. And both of them were just kind of standing there as McKinnon skates right through them.
Yeah, this is fine. He's not one of the fastest players in the league.
That none of them even thought to challenge McKinnon.
Cover that guy.
No one noticed him. Yeah, maybe we should cover him.
Yeah, that was a fucking sweet goal he got. I was watching in bed and I was like, holy fuck. That was a sick goal. Yeah. This one's close. This one's gonna be close. I think
so. It's closer than I thought.
Yeah, I thought Calgary was gonna.
I was kind of ragging on Colorado's depth, but it turns out that they're stepping it up in the way that they need to.
Yeah. That
they're actually doing well to shut down Calgary and contributing.
And Grubauer is being Grubauer,
the hot goalie.
Yeah, he's just like Binnington was playing well going into playoffs. So is Grubauer.
And I think too, Mike Smith's leadership qualities are being completely overlooked.
Yeah.
CBC commentators were talking about this, but
I saw that.
The amount of communication and play direction that is led by Smith, and that he's taking the defensemen aside after the plays to talk to them about what they need to be doing. that he's leading that on ice effort to help like tweak the game to maximize their chances.
Yeah,
and I think he's doing well.
The one time when CBC was talking. Actually, I've seen a couple times, but the one time was when somebody, I don't know if it was Anderson or who it was, but someone took a penalty on the Calgary, and then when he came out of the box, like Smith went up to him, was like talking to him, like, calming him down almost.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's
pretty cool to see that from a goalie.
That's important too.
Yeah.
That they need the leadership they can get to help direct this team, because like we said last week, they're a young team. This is their first real shot at this level of playoff potential. Yeah.
That any overtime hockey I'm okay with. That was fun.
That was good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to mention about this series?
I don't think so. I haven't watched it as closely just because I'm not terribly interested in either team. But
yeah,
it's been fun to watch, and I'm actually looking forward to watching the rest of them.
Yeah. So maybe let's move on then to the San Jose and Vegas Golden Knights. That's 1-1 as well.
I think this is about what we expected. Like one of the
real
it's
battle.
Been exciting.
It's been a real battle, and it's been exciting as hell.
I'm surprised at how slow Vegas came out of the gate in Game 1.
Yeah.
I thought they would be way more prepared and challenging San Jose a lot quicker than they did, but
they came out guns blazing in Game 2 though.
They learned quickly, but I mean then they gave up the lead too.
Then they in Game 2, because I watched pretty much that whole game, it was really exciting. Like that was playoff hockey at its finest. So Vegas goes up 3-0. And in the same period, the first period, San Jose comes back to tie it 3-3.
Which that's
the first time that's ever happened.
Okay, I mean, it's hard enough to come back from 3-0 in the same game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
never mind
was
in the same
crazy.
period.
And then the beginning of the second period, San Jose gets a goal. Wait, what's that? Goaltender interference gets called back.
Which I disagree with that call.
I disagree with the call,
especially because it was a penalty.
San Jose got a penalty. There was no review or anything. That was just a call on the ice.
I think because of the penalty, they couldn't have it reviewed, right?
Yeah.
Which I think that was a big mistake.
So I think the goal coming back was fine, but the penalty it fucked them because Vegas scored on that power play. So that's a 2-goal swing, which is a lot to take in.
And that was the game winner.
Yeah.
I think
so.
Because I think it was 5-3.
Yeah.
And
so pretty
I got to be
shitty.
honest, I don't even think that goal should have come back because Fleury was out of the crease.
Yeah, that's like the goal that was happened in the Capitals Hurricanes in yesterday's game. Carolina got that goal and Holtby got hit in the glove, but his glove was like outside of the crease, and then Holtby decided to do a 360 to try and move away from the contact, and the goal counted. But in the Sharks game, Fleury was completely out of the crease.
Yeah.
So, like, where the fuck is the consistency again on goaltender interference? Whether it is or it's not.
That was absolutely goalie interference, but he was out of the crease, so I don't think it should have been the goal. And like you said, like that's the consistency that the players
and
need.
The interference too. Like, he's out of the crease. So.
And this goes back to Cam Talbot. Like, what even is goalie interference?
Yeah. And just that swing in a playoff game is so much to come back from. I know San Jose was trying, but they just couldn't. And one thing I wanted to point out is that it's really small. I sent you a text about it, but there was a play that kind of got blown for offside. Or not kind of, it did get blown for offside.
This is sort of offside. We should have the face-off on the line.
Erik Karlsson was bringing the puck in, and right after the whistle blown, somebody on Vegas hit him. He fell down. Nobody on San Jose came over. They all just kind of did their thing. You could see it on Karlsson's face. He was down on the ice sitting there, and he was looking around like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, nobody came over to step up for him or nobody did anything. And I feel like that's kind of just where they were at as a team. And as soon as they saw that, I was like, they're not going to come back this game because they're just not playing for each other.
And then I think at the end, Evander Kane kind of went a bit batshit crazy again. And
that's because he got high-sticked by Fleury and a D-man behind the net. Did you see that?
No, I just saw him. I just saw him get pissed off.
He was like going behind the net, and he got high-sticked by Fleury and the D-man, And then he just like wanted blood after that.
Okay, so like he's the one who's gonna stand up for anybody.
Yeah, and him and Reeves have been going back and forth on like Twitter about how Reeves is a babysitter, and then his typical response is like, "I'm the highest paid babysitter ever." Then
Yeah, great chirps, bud.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah, I think that's important too, because we look at the contrast between San Jose and Columbus, where we're talking about Foligno being the leader, standing up for his teammate, just coming in, seeing a dirty play. Now, I don't think the play on Karlsson was dirty, but nobody came in to even like give him the hand up or whatever, like the pad.
Yeah, doesn't matter what it is, if it's clean or not. It's after the whistle. You should be there.
Yeah,
like your guy got knocked down,
and you don't have to like start pummeling a guy, but you can go over and grab the neck of the jersey and be like, don't do that,
because you want to make it known that you can't do that shit to us.
Yeah. And like, this isn't a small team. This is a physical team, San Jose.
And that message just was, you guys have open, like it's open game. Like,
open season.
Yeah, open season. You guys can do whatever you want. Who cares?
Yeah. And this goes back to Edmonton used to be like that. We used to call it like the bus stop mentality, where everyone's just kind of standing around like they're waiting for the bus.
Yeah.
No one's engaging. No one's standing up for anybody. No one's helping anybody up or whatever.
Yeah.
That it just shows disengaged
thought
team.
That was poor to see, and I know that's not usual for that team, but I just thought that where they were in that game, that nobody was going to stand up for them, that, they weren't playing for each other, and it wasn't going to happen.
They have to do a pretty hard reset to make sure, because Vegas is going to come out strong again, because that's who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I should point out that San Jose got those 3 goals in less than 2 minutes. So it was pretty crazy offense.
Wow.
And that was also kind of sparked by a gigantic Brent Burns hit on Nosek. After that hit, they went down the ice and scored. So huge hit leads to a offensive break, and kind of just got the momentum back. And then that momentum swing after the goal was disallowed and shit, huge.
Yeah. I want to point out too about that series. Mark Stone is playing supremely well.
Yeah. He is.
He's all over the place.
Good.
Like, if he's on the ice, when he's on the ice. He's always making plays. He's always got the puck. He's always doing something, and you hear his name constantly in the play-by-play.
Yeah. Yeah, he is really good.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he scored at least 2 goals.
Yeah, I think he's got 3 points.
Okay.
And I think Erik Karlsson has 4 points, and Matt Duchene has 4 points. I don't know what Brassard has, but all these former Ottawa Senators
are doing
pretty well.
And this is exactly what they brought him in for.
Imagine if they're all on one team.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Who what kind of absurdity is that? who would ever have all those guys on one team?
Yeah. What lucky team would have all those guys? But, yeah, you're right. Mark Stone has been
he's been exactly as
sensational. Advertised. Yeah. And I think my pick was Erik Karlsson.
Yep.
And in game 1, he was definitely making plays out there. He was definitely a difference maker and looking like, beast mode Erik Karlsson. And hopefully he can turn it up and continue to play at that level. I think he was good last night, but or 2 nights ago.
Yeah. He's a UFA this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I always keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Or which year it actually is.
And then the final series is Nashville and Dallas, and that's also at 1-1.
Okay, I was actually gonna say first thing because I forgot who won game 1. I was trying to remember. Yeah, I remember Nashville was coming back at the end. They put a lot of pressure, but this has been okay series.
I haven't really watched too much of it. I've watched highlights of game 1 and I watched some of game 2, and from what I've seen, it's been a lot of
back and forth.
Back and forth, and some huge saves, timely saves.
Very.
And lots of physicality.
There's been quite a few big hits.
Lots of penalties too.
Yeah.
Lots of penalties. I know Ekholm took like 4 last game or something.
That's always good.
And from what I watched very briefly, or not very briefly, but it looks like Nashville was going after Zook. Like they were targeting him, a small forward, going after him pretty hard. And bounce back up though every time.
Well, he does. That's the type of player he is.
So fortunate that they got him back for playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Because he's been playing well. I think he's still been putting up points and contributing.
Yeah, he got a goal in the first game, I think. And one thing that was funny was that Radulov was getting booed in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think
really
this
part on good terms.
Who'd have thunk that?
Yeah.
How long ago was he in Nashville? Because I know he came over for the playoffs at one year.
Probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because he went back to the KHL and then came to Montreal.
Yeah.
So it's probably 4 years, maybe 5.
Yeah. I really think this series is going to come down to a goalie battle.
Yeah.
These are two high-performing goalies. Whichever one lets in a dumb goal first, it's probably going to shift the tide of the series.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think Tyler Seguin has been pretty quiet.
Heiskanen's been unreal.
Heiskanen has been phenomenal. I think he played the most minutes as a rookie D-man
Probably.
Ever in game 1.
He had 1 goal, 1 assist game 1. We thought it was 2 goals for Heiskanen in game 1, but turns out the second one was deflected.
Right. Yeah.
But that's still, he created both those goals.
Yeah, I wish I had watched more of this series because it seems like it's a big battle. Like it could go either way at any point. And it seems like a team will score and then the other team will score immediately after just to even it up.
Yeah.
That's what happened yesterday when Ben got his first goal, and then I think who got the second one? Was it Grimaldi or something?
Was it that one from behind the net, that pass from Watson? No, Grimaldi got a goal. Can't remember which one it was.
Grimaldi got that one, but I think that was later in the game.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, just kind of, it's one of those games you just have on, and I'm not super paying that much attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say it's a bad series, but comparatively, this is going to be this one is going to be that grindy long series, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I like that style of hockey. It's just I'm not super interested in either of those teams.
Fair enough.
And you have to do something else at some point in the day, so yeah. This is the series that I've kind of been slacking on.
Yeah, no, same here. Take that, Nashville and Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to sleep on them, but
yeah,
it's just if another game is on, I'm probably going to be paying more attention to that game than this one.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, like I said, we got to watch the goalies here.
Yeah. For sure.
I think that's gonna come. It's gonna come down to not a Predators versus Stars, but Rene versus Bishop.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, they've both been pretty on their games.
Yeah, Rene's doing Rene things. He's not Stanley Cup final against Pittsburgh Rene, but
yeah. And Bishop is looking
he's continuing how well he was in the regular
all-star
season.
caliber goalie. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that pretty much wraps up all the series.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to point out about anything playoffs related or otherwise?
No, I think that covered it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all the notes that I made from what I watched over the week.
Tons of good hockey out there.
I know.
It's been really fun
Exciting.
So far.
And we're just getting started, really.
Yeah, I mean,
the series, this was the first 2 games, I think. All 7 of the 8 series are at 2 games, one's at 3 as of this recording.
Yeah, and there's be a few more later tonight.
Yeah.
So.
And now we're just waiting for the battles because there's going to be a couple of these that are going to go 6 or 7 that are going to be grinding battles. I think watching this Bruins Leafs series, whoever the winner of Tampa Bay Columbus is going to be super lucky because whichever team comes out of Toronto Boston is going to have half the roster injured.
Yeah, I think you got a point there because it's going to be a slog to get through that Toronto-Boston series.
And, I mean, Boston's already taken some hits. Krug is potentially out. I think it was Clifton left as well.
Is DeBrusk still good? Or does he have a concussion now?
I think he's good, but that's probably a hockey player in the playoffs type
Patrice Bergeron good?
Yeah. I can't imagine he's 100%
collapsed
healthy.
Lung and,
Punk broken rib, torn abdominal muscle or whatever.
Yeah, I'm fine. Put me in.
Yeah, put me in, coach.
Yeah. Are you going to jump ship on any of your picks here?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Pittsburgh in 6, and they're now down 3-0. So I mean,
Yeah, so that 6 is probably wrong.
Probably.
Yeah.
It has to be. But
has to be wrong.
I mean, I totally misjudged the teams. I was totally wrong on that one. I'll just say it was my difference maker pick.
Yeah.
But no, I put too much emphasis on the historical performance of Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And I didn't factor in enough of the hot goalie and gritty playoff style hockey that New York's playing.
That series has been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who's kind of biased watching it.
For sure.
I want one of those teams to win. Like most of these series, I have a pick, but it's not someone I want to see succeed, you know? Like I'm not personally invested in it as much.
Mm-hmm.
But this Islanders one, like I want them to win. Like if they beat the Capitals, if the Capitals and them meet in the second round, like I would be okay with them going on. You know, whereas if it was Pittsburgh, obviously not.
For sure.
Fuck Pittsburgh, right? But it's been fun to watch this battle between the Islanders and Pittsburgh, and it's been even better to see the Islanders winning it.
Yeah. And they're just playing exciting hockey.
Yeah. What one of these has been your favorite so far?
Toronto-Boston.
Toronto-Boston. I think Columbus-Tampa has been mine.
Just to watch that turnaround, yeah.
Yeah. Just because I think it would be amazing. I also hate Tampa.
That's
Not
up there.
quite.
That's going to be the most intriguing to watch, I think, because
Yeah.
I'm invested in that because I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
I want to see how Tampa responds to this.
Dislike Tampa, but not to the degree of Pittsburgh. But I think it would be awesome to see an 8th seed beat the best team since 1996. Just because I hate hearing about like how good teams are all the time and
Right.
all season long. Like, this is the best team ever assembled. And then you see like a...
You going to go on TV with that voice?
Yeah, and then see the 8th round just beat them in 4 or whatever. You know, it'd be funny.
Yeah, I think Toronto-Boston for me is just... It's that
rivalry.
constant back and forth, the rivalry. Like, there's so much energy in that series.
Yeah.
That even just watching it, you're just invested in what happens next.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, like I'm not a huge fan of when it gets overly physical to the point of being dirty. So like that Kadri play at the end of the game there kind of took a lot out of it. But it's 1-1 after game 2. Moving forward, it's still going to be a battle between the two.
Yeah, best of 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those two. Like, to be honest, I've been more invested in that Columbus series than the Capitals series.
Oh, for sure. It was honestly an afterthought.
Like, watching that
the
Capitals
East.
game yesterday, like, I was not even close to as pumped up as watching the Columbus game.
Yeah.
Like, it's been fun.
And it's hard to out west because like you watch all these great games early in the day, and then by the time you get to
You're just exhausted.
exactly by the time you get to the Western games, it's like, all right, I've exhausted all my energy I can put into hockey today.
The St. Louis Winnipeg one and the San Jose Vegas one, I think, would be the ones that stand out in the West for me, because San Jose Vegas is just like you were talking about Toronto. It's just been back and forth and yeah.
And I'm honestly like, San Jose is like my underdog pick. They're not really an underdog per se, but I'm just cheering for them to do good because it's just a good story and they're good to watch.
Jumbo, yeah. I think I would like to see St. Louis.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also want Winnipeg. I'm just so torn on all these matchups. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not so determined on the team I want to win. I just want to see good hockey.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm at the good hockey point too. After my bracket got destroyed in game 1, I was like, screw it.
Yeah. Got to win that pair of socks from that bracket challenge online, you know? Yeah. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps it up here.
Yeah, so once again, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, rate, review. And if you like what you're listening to, make sure you tell your friends. Make sure spread this podcast around. We appreciate it all. And if you want to keep up to date on the latest content that we upload, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Links are in the description. And we'll talk to you guys next time.